What's up, everyone? So, um, currently, next week it's probably there's going to be some financial earnings next week, which is going to be interesting. What I do know is space is probably going to go crazy tomorrow morning, depending on whether or not it's going to fall after the first 5 minutes of market open. That's debatable, but it's probably pretty obvious that it's going to gap up a lot. Wall Street Bets did add a new channel in their server, and also yeah, their launch was also successful. I think it was delayed for a bit, but it successfully launched today. So that's good news for Virgin Galactic, because you would know that if it delayed, then that stock would have been crashing down. My only thing is that I think the implied volatility were pretty high on the contract, so it depends on how much it goes up. Then that really depends. I am also joined by Tim over here. He's on a call with me. Say hi.
Jay, I don't think your stream's working. I can't hear you.
Can you not hear me?
No. At least I can't. I don't know.
Can you guys hear me in the chat? Say yes if you can hear me. I'm pretty sure my stream is working.
Alright, let me refresh.
Are you sure your computer audio is not like off or something?
No, it's all.
I like the stream if you guys can hear me. Loud and clear.
They can hear you. Apparently not me.
Alright. Well, thanks. Yeah. Okay, everyone hears me. Okay, that's good. Alright. Before we get started, make sure to...
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Can you guys hear Tim? Oh yeah, and also before we continue, make sure to like the stream, because the more people that like, the more people sees the stream, and the more people ask for charts to chart out. And at the end, it's going to help you, because the more tickers you see, the more patterns that are possible, and also the more trading ideas you get. So make sure to like this stream, make sure to beef up the YouTube algorithm for the stream, and let's get started. So feel free to put tickers in the chat. I am watching a bit. So this is Ethereum. I have Ethereum up right now. Someone's asking me if I do crypto or stocks. I do both. I chart out both. I don't play crypto though. Okay, so next week primarily what I'm watching is financials, because they have earnings. But let me actually pull up financial. Oh yeah, and also this is Baba. On the weekly, it's forming a giant falling wedge. But yeah. Tim, is there anything you're watching next week?
I'm mainly watching financials, like you said, and Roblox, actually, because I need some extra Robux this week. So,
okay. Okay.
Already,
Yeah. No.
Get the...
Okay. Nope. We're stopping right there. Roblox does have an interesting wedge though, so it's gonna have a breakout either to the upside or the downside in a couple of days. I would say around July 16th or 19th, those 2 weeks. Either to the upside or downside. This is a pretty big symmetrical triangle. I would assume this is going to go to the upside because it's Roblox, but you never know. It's not overpowered or oversold, so it's going to be trading pretty flat for the next couple of days. But as Tim said, we're watching financials. So if you look at JP Morgan Chase, you can see that financials did take a dump from their all-time highs. Well, no, not all-time high, yearly highs, I guess. Oh, for JP Morgan's all-time highs. But for other financials, it might be yearly highs for JP Morgan's all-time highs. And the only reason for that is because of the Powell scare. Right? Financials did have a pretty big dump, and that's why I pulled down the Dow. You can see that JP Morgan went back down again, but I think this was on the COVID scare, because whenever the economy needs to shut down because of like the Delta virus or whatever, it's not good for the economy, it's not good for interest rates, it's not good for financial companies. So that's the reason why financials did take another dump. Since earnings are coming out for financials, I think on Wednesday and Thursday, that means... Oh, you had to ban someone, okay. So Tim, tell me, why would the financial earnings matter for Wednesday and Thursday?
Mainly because financial earnings kind of show the strength of the value sector and whether they're living up to the expectations. Obviously, we've run very recently right above all-time highs. So we do need to justify that their earnings are growing, and obviously banks are a very important part of our country, and stress tests came out recently, all were good. So I do expect good earnings. And I think one specific chart I'm watching is probably Goldman Sachs. It's in a kind of wedge, I believe. So that's my number one kind of bank watch for the week, personally. So yeah, they're pretty important. They kind of set the tone for earnings because they're like the first companies to kind of report for the start of the earnings season. So
Exactly. And also keep in mind that the Dow Jones index is actually not at all-time highs just yet. So if financials do well, it might push the Dow up, and that's also going to push SPY up. Do keep in mind that, their interest rates are going to affect banks in the next few months. But yeah, the bank's earnings do tell us, it gives us an idea about how the value sector is doing. So companies like what's a value company? My mind's blank. What's a value company? Like Penn Gaming. Penn is a value company. Procter,
Myers.
Bristol Myers, Procter and Gamble, Coca-Cola, those value companies, and Berkshire Hathaway. So it gives you a perspective of that, and then followed by that we have tech earnings after that. So we're officially entering earnings season, which is going to be fun. So keep those lottos ready. But as Tim said, stress tests for financials were looking pretty good, which does give us the idea that maybe financials are going to do well. Also, if you take a look at Goldman Sachs chart, you can see that this is technically a bullish abandoned baby over here. This candlestick does look a bit funny, but this candlestick is completely left behind, which shows that this is a bullish abandoned baby. So this is a bullish pattern, and if you look at SPY, I see the same exact thing on the SPY daily chart right over here. As you see over here, there's a bullish abandoned baby. Last time we formed that was on May 19th. And after that, SPY pushed to new all-time highs before falling down because of Powell. But since then, we pushed to 435, which is crazy. And if I go all the way out and look at the September crash all the way till now, and I draw a channel resistance, right? All the way up, all the way up. This is only the channel resistance. Support's a little bit messier, but only looking at resistance, you can see the SPY has room all the way up to around 440. Holy crap. Like 447, 445. If I want to be conservative over here, SPY has room to go up to around 443. So it is looking pretty crazy, and financials earnings might push SPY just to that level. And just depending on whether or not it goes up or down, it's going to affect value sector. And the value sector does have a pretty good weight on SPY, so we're going to have to see. I do see a few charts in the chat, so I'm going to go over those. The first stock is Starbucks, so I'm going to take a look at Starbucks. I'm pretty sure Tim played Starbucks a couple of weeks ago. Did you, Tim?
Yeah, I played the descending triangle breakout. Everyone
The falling wedge?
that didn't get into it is now chasing officially. But
The falling wedge?
it's okay. No, it was a descending triangle.
Oh, was it? Alright, but what I see on Starbucks is it looks like it double topped from July 7th. On the larger picture, it does look like around the top. I think it's going to easily go up to test all-time highs at 118. Yeah, I think it's going to easily test all-time highs at 118. It just needs to break this 117 level. I don't really see anything to chart besides this around the bottom, and it's pretty obvious it's right there. Maybe on a smaller time frame, there might be something else. Ooh, okay. On a smaller time frame, it doesn't look that nice. I think it's going to retest the 9 EMA, depending on whether it holds or not. That's debatable. But it looks like it did reject as a double top. So depending on how we open up next week, right, tomorrow, I think that's where I should pay attention to. If we open green for Starbucks, I do think it's going to go to all-time highs. If we open red, right, if we gap down, I think Starbucks is probably going to fill the gap at 116. Depending on how red we're going to be. But charting out support over here, it's not really that reliable of a support. Maybe if I adjust it a little bit, you can see a Starbucks support's around 117. So it really depends on whether we gap up or gap down. There has been a couple of news over the weekend about the whole market, well, space. Well, that's not really news about the market, but also like, I think isn't there like data coming out on Tuesday, Tim? Like, is it CPI?
I think CPI is coming out this week. I don't remember the day.
I remember seeing I remember seeing that CPI is going to come out on Tuesday, so that's definitely going to shake up the market a little bit. We might see a sell-off on Monday to prepare for Tuesday, or we might see a really green day where people I can't really recall an instance where that happened. So we're going to see some volatility in the market. I don't think we're going to have the greenest day tomorrow, but do keep in mind that the market's never failed to surprise me. I do see a lot of new people in chat. Make sure to like the stream so more people can see. It will beef up the algorithm, and it's going to have more people ask more tickers in the chat, which is going to give you more trading ideas. And I'm also joined by Tim Apple here today. Tim, do you want to say hi again? You can say hi here and hi in the chat.
Here.
he's Adi Kumar in the chat, so you can say hi either way. But next stock on the list is Baba, and I actually talked about this in the beginning of the stream, so in the interest of time, please scroll back. Coca-Cola is next. Ooh, okay, so for Coca-Cola, let me take a look. Sorry, I'm getting Discord notifications, but for Coca-Cola, it looks like it's trying to form a rounded bottom, and Coca-Cola is part of the Dow, which means that the financial earnings is going to affect how Coca-Cola is going to do as a value stock. You can see that it is starting to form a rounded bottom. It was in a resistance line where it did break resistance, so that is a good sign for Coca-Cola. It reclaimed a 90 EMA on the daily, which is also a good sign. I do think Coca-Cola, I can't say that word. Coca-Cola is going to go up from here, depending on maybe it's going to retest resistance. Resistance is around 54.3, so we're going to have to see, but this does look like a rounded bottom starting to form, and I do think, and if financials are good on Wednesday and Thursday, then I do see Coca-Cola recovering from the crash from its not all-time highs, yearly highs, 52-week high. All right, next stock is going to be Verizon. So also Verizon's also part of the value sector. See, look at how many value stocks there are that I can't remember. Verizon's also part of the Dow. Is it part of the Dow? I think so. It's a value stock, and it did fall from its previous highs, which is actually a long time ago, actually. But financial earnings is going to affect Verizon, and just looking at Verizon, I do see a falling wedge forming. So possible reversal for Verizon either way, right? On the daily, I do see a falling wedge, which is a bullish pattern. It does have more way to go. It looks like the falling wedge is going to break out on August 4th, August 5th, that range. So we're going to have to see for Verizon. If financials do well, Verizon's definitely going to follow with the values sector, which is going to ultimately let it break out this falling wedge. So it can break out earlier than that. So just remember that. And also, and also you can see that Verizon does have wicks ranging below support. So, if Verizon does manage to break out the resistance, just keep in mind that it can also close below resistance and continue to bounce around. So wait for confirmation. That's most important. Don't get burned out on plays. Another stock is Boeing, which is also a value stock. Wow, you guys are getting asking a lot of value stocks today. See, I see Ford. I see NVDA is not a value stock, but on Boeing, I charted out a descending broadening wedge, and Boeing actually shot up 2 days ago because of good news about China, which helped it break out of its falling wedge that it has been in forever. And that also prompted the airlines to follow. Airlines didn't follow as strong because of the Delta variant, but it did follow Boeing, and you can see that for Boeing, it is in a bullish pattern. I do see more room for Boeing to go up to 250, 245, 246 area where it's going to touch resistance. That also depends on whether or not CPI data is good, financial earnings are good, all those factors combined. But just looking at technical analysis, Boeing does look like it can still go up. And usually when Boeing has good news, it usually runs on it for a while. Just like when Boeing has bad news, it runs on the bad news for a while. So Boeing is a pretty news-driven company, if you haven't noticed. But just keep in mind that it does have more room to go up. If I go in a smaller time frame for Boeing, you can see that it is bull flagging over here. I did draw a pennant, but looks like it just didn't listen to it. But you can see that this does look like a beautiful consolidation bull flag, right? It needs to break the level of around 239-ish, 240-ish to break. You can also say this is kind of like an ascending triangle. Maybe if I go in a 15-minute, it might show up better. Yeah, so this looks like it's a small ascending triangle. So depends on whether we gap up or gap down tomorrow. That's going to determine whether or not we break up or down on this triangle. So we just have to see. All right, next stock is Ford, and Ford is a value stock. So I think I repeated myself quite a lot. So you guys get the point. Financials are going to affect it. CPI is going to affect it. Looking on the daily chart, it looks like Ford also fell off quite a bit from its all-time highs. You can see that it is forming a falling wedge. Not really. It's some sort of consolidation, but if it's a falling wedge, it's gonna take forever to break out. So if I extend all this out, which will look ridiculous, it's gonna break out like August 11th. But just looking at Ford, it does have resistance around $14.87. So it does have more room to go up. Like I said, it depends on whether or not CPI is good, whether or not we gap up or gap down, news. So we just have to see. And also the other day, General Motors got an upgrade because of, I think it's because of like their EV production. So Ford is definitely gonna go in sync with GM. So just keep that in mind. Okay, next stock is gonna be Amazon. So Amazon finally broke out this consolidation. It has been for almost a year. It broke out up to around 3.7K. And Tim, wasn't there some kind of news that like happened a couple days ago that boosted Amazon?
I don't remember.
Was it like Bezos like stepping down or something?
Oh yeah, so basically I think when Bezos stepped down on the 4th, a lot of stock split rumors came up because Bezos was the only one kind of on the Amazon team high up that thought like stock splits were never going to do one. But the new CEO, I guess it brings in more speculation as to whether a stock split is possible now that Bezos stepped down. So I guess that was some rumor-filled pumping. And then obviously Amazon looking really bullish on the breakout. Obviously, both combined together, it's gonna
exactly. So there was good news for some rumors that stock splits can actually happen for Amazon. Also, there was a cup and handle on the daily. I completely missed it, so I didn't actually see it. Well, yeah, obviously because I missed it. But this consolidation point finally broke out. So basically, Amazon's kind of running on rumor right now, on hype. It's kind of it's going to be similar to NVIDIA if they actually do announce a stock split. So, and also Amazon has earnings on July 29th. So after financial earnings, there's going to be tech earnings. So keep in mind of that. All right, next stock is going to be NVIDIA, which had a crazy run up. For NVIDIA, I feel like it's going to pull Home Depot where it had a suddenly red day, which was July 7th. And, if you look at Home Depot, which I think I do have it up. You can see that Home Depot had a really nice run from 249 all the way to 344. You can see that had, red days where it gapped down, and then it just continued to slowly go down, form a falling wedge. And then you just recover. I can see a similar thing happen for NVIDIA. But do keep in mind that the NVIDIA split is happening on July 20th. And it has earnings on August 12th. So what do I think is going to happen with NVIDIA? Currently, I don't see anything. I do see that it did reclaim the 9 EMA on the daily, which is good for NVIDIA because the 9 EMA basically acts as a short-term support or resistance based on whether or not it's on an uptrend or downtrend. You can see that NVIDIA was obviously on an uptrend over here, which shows that the 9 EMA acts as support. So as long as the NVIDIA stays above the 9 EMA, it is still in the uptrend. If I go in the smaller time frame for NVIDIA, it doesn't look as nice. You can see that this was basically just consolidation. Looks more like bearish consolidation. So it looks like a bear flag over here. So I can't expect NVIDIA to go fall even more. And as I said, it's probably going to be similar to Home Depot where, it has multiple green days and then suddenly just falls and then gradually goes down. But it's NVIDIA, so who knows, right? All right. Next stock is Spotify. Oh, wow. So Spotify might form a cup and handle over here. I see this rounded bottom. If we make our way back up to 276, this can be a possible cup and handle. Going a smaller time frame, it's really gappy. Wow. I can tell the stock never moves. But on the 3 hour, right, you can see that there was some kind of falling wedge over here. Some kind of consolidation over here. We just broke out of it, and Spotify is really not friendly to chart. Let me see. I don't know. I don't really see anything for Spotify, honestly. Tim, do you see anything for Spotify?
I haven't looked at 1 second. Let me pull up my Spotify chart. It's kind of a cup and handle, kind of.
You can see it starting to form, but like it can easily break out. I do see resistance at 277, but that's really far from Spotify. Something that you should know is that Spotify is currently at 3 EMA lines on the daily, which is going to be pretty strong resistance. So if Spotify does manage to break it, I think it can go all the way up to 277, 278 to form a cup and handle. And keep in mind, that's only the pattern, right? The breakout's going to probably be a lot more than that, so maybe to 300. So I don't know. Other than that, I don't really see anything for Spotify. Do you?
I mean, if it kind of broke out of that mini downtrend it's been facing, there is still a little bit of the gap fill left. So maybe it could go up and fill that. But first of all, you're going to have to clear the zone that it failed to clear in the past, which was like the 270 zone. It has to reclaim that and then go reclaim the 200-day EMA, which is at 280. So tough road up ahead for Spotify, in my opinion.
My 200-day EMA for Spotify is at 263.
I have the SMA. Maybe.
Oh, SMA. Okay, all right. Yeah, I use the EMAs, but yeah, basically Spotify is gonna have to break multiple resistances for it to look bullish again. But a reversal is in the horizon. All right, next stock is gonna be Home Depot, and my personal favorites. Home Depot, there was a falling wedge where it broke out from. I personally played September calls, which has been doing pretty well. But you can see that the breakout from the falling wedge has been going on. Home Depot did recover pretty well from the sell-offs we had a couple of days ago. Currently for Home Depot, it does have multiple gaps actually. It just filled the bear gap and it just completely went back down, which is not good. It didn't hold. It does have another gap to fill back down to 318, so we can possibly see possibly a flash crash, like this giant red candlestick to fill the gap down at 318, because you can see that we also had a flash crash all the way down to 314 to fill the 314 gap over here. So we can very well see a gap fill. Also, it also depends on the earnings for financials. It's going to depend on value stocks, right? So that too. If I chart out some resistance for Home Depot, and then I chart out support, you can see that this is an ascending broadening wedge, which is bearish. So if Home Depot sees the price of 315 again, it has a possibility of breaking down below that. So we do have to be careful with that. But Home Depot, on the other hand, also has room to go up to 326, 327 with the resistance level. So, two ways to play it. Home Depot is currently in the middle of it. So, like I said, it depends on CPI data, depends on earnings. It also depends on market sentiment, right? Last week we had a sell-off. maybe it's going to continue this week. Maybe SPY might be overextended. It's a lot of speculation. So we just have to see. I don't think Home Depot has earnings anytime soon. Never mind, it does have earnings. It has earnings on August 17th, so it's not in a while. So Home Depot still has time. Tesla. So for Tesla, basically for Tesla, let me take a look here. So support for Tesla is currently at around 636. We briefly broke below that on last week's sell-off, but did reclaim it miraculously. Tesla was actually pretty strong that day compared to SPY. Possible ascending triangle forming, though resistance is kind of iffy. But if we do continue to hold support, which I think we will, and if we continue to bounce around the zone, Tesla does have a breakout around August 5th, which conveniently is right around earnings. So this ascending triangle breakout is around Tesla earnings, so maybe Tesla hype is going to start coming back and we can break to the upside to hopefully around like 770, where last time that's the recovery we went to last time. But also depends on EV sentiment. It depends on whether or not Tesla, if there's any news coming out for Tesla, maybe China news for Tesla. I think there was a news where like Tesla sales in China was all-time highs. Was that news, Tim? I feel like I saw like a Model Y news.
There was something about deliveries, but I think it gapped up on the day and that kind of just sold off anyway. So I don't think.
Oh yeah, I do remember. I do remember Tesla gapping up like $20, and it just like went back to like up $5 at open. I do remember that. But yeah, so maybe if there's more news to come out, we'll see about that. So Tesla needs an ounce of good news to actually recover. Currently, it's just been trading sideways for like the last couple of months since March, right? Tesla hasn't seen all-time high since January, so we're gonna have to see for Tesla. And also keep in mind that there is a downtrend from all-time highs all the way till a couple of days ago. So Tesla does have a pretty strong resistance around 680. Every time we manage to hit the resistance, we hard reject it. So, but you keep in mind that every time we did hit resistance, our pullback has been a lot slower, which is good. So maybe bear momentum for Tesla is going to fade out, and hopefully bulls are going to retake Tesla. Also depends on earnings, right? Depends on deliveries amounts. Depends on all that things for Tesla to hopefully go back up. But currently, if you look at the weekly for Tesla, I think it's going to be easier time to visualize. You can see that there is pretty strong resistance over there. So you do have to keep in mind about that. Oh yeah, and on the hourly, it does kind of look like a rising wedge a little bit. Support's kind of iffy, but possible rising wedge, so not the best sign for Tesla. Alright, next stock is going to be RIOT. So about RIOT, I was looking at the hash rates data for Bitcoin and miner revenue. Miner revenue did have a slight bounce that it hasn't had for a couple of months now. So miner revenue did bounce. Also, Bitcoin hash rates were starting to go. Let me actually show you. It might have changed by now, but if I search up the Bitcoin's hash rate, and you can imagine the hash rate crashing because of all the China bans on crypto mining. So total hash rate, it did bounce, right? We haven't seen this kind of bounce since May 24th. So around like 2 months now, right? That's the 7-day average. Raw data, right? We saw a pretty big bounce from June 26 all the way till now. It's been slowing down, but we did see a bounce. And if you look at miner revenue, you can see that it also bounced pretty highly, right? It bounced on June 26 all the way till now. We haven't seen that kind of bounce since May, so that is good news for miners. Also, do keep in mind that the more miners that get kicked out of China, the less control China has over cryptocurrency, which is good news for crypto in the long term because, you know, China usually is a party pooper with these kind of stuff. So, you know, it doesn't want to see a decentralized currency take over when they want the yuan to take over. So, the more crypto miners that relocate to the United States, I know Miami, I think like South Dakota, I think they've been giving out like tax breaks to miners to relocate to their state. So the more crypto miners that relocate to the United States, the less control China has over crypto, and the more crypto miners there can be in the U.S., where it's a lot more consistent, it's a lot more safer for them. So I do see good long-term prospects for miners. Currently, it might not look as good technical wise, right? For RIOT on the daily, it looks all right actually. On the hourly, it doesn't look that well. I don't really see any pattern on it. But Tim, what are your thoughts on miners for like the long term? Or like Bitcoin or like?
I mean, if you want to buy miners, might as well buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or VeChain or anything. Any crypto, just buy it. I'd rather buy that over miners personally. That's why.
Or Coinbase. Or Coinbase, honestly.
Yeah, I'm in Coinbase because if you think about it, if the crypto hype continues, my number one bullish thesis for Coinbase is that if the crypto market continues to crash, or if it even continues to go up, or if it even continues to go sideways, no matter what happens, Coinbase is always going to make revenue from the transaction fees. So if you're panic selling, they make money. If you're rapidly buying, they make money. If you're just selling and buying over and over, sitting in a box, they make money. So either way, they're going to make money. So Coinbase is, I think, my number one play for, I guess, crypto. That's what I'm in.
But when crypto crashes, doesn't the transactions like go down and everything like?
I mean, if crypto is crashing, that means transactions of sell orders are going on.
That is true, right? But when crypto goes sideways, that's where like no one likes it. So we're in that phase right now where we are sideways, where there's really low transactions because hype people sold all their stuff, and they're looking for when crypto goes up to buy, right? So we're currently in that phase where crypto is in a sideways movement. We're not going anywhere. I do agree with Tim that Coinbase does have more like of an upside, I guess, to like making money, because the way miners make money is well, number one, it's how many transactions there are. So, you know, same thing. If Bitcoin goes sideways, you know, chances are there's not many transactions, and also if Bitcoin goes up or not, right? If crypto crashes, miners are going to crash because miners also own crypto, so it's going to go down. But for Coinbase, right, if something's crashing, there's going to be a lot of sell orders, a lot of transactions. It's going to make Coinbase's earnings and everything like that, it's going to make it look good. And if you take a look at Coinbase, it did go down from IPO price. In my opinion, IPO is pretty overvalued for Coinbase, and you know, it's at a pretty relatively good level for purchase right now for the long term. Maybe you can wait, but I actually see a pretty good technical pattern on Coinbase. Possible cup and handle over here. Possible cup and handle. So, you know, if you want to get into Coinbase, maybe get a starter position. Maybe it's going to crash a bit more since it did reject 100 EMA just formed on the 4 hour. But I do agree with Tim that, you know, Coinbase does have more of an upside. It's a lot more safer in my opinion. But also, if you want to buy miners, why not buy Ethereum, right? Ethereum has, I think Ethereum 2 is coming out in like I think near the end of the year 2022, which is going to definitely improve transaction time and everything, make it more efficient. Also, I did see somewhere that Ethereum had large option orders by crypto whales. So and they expire at the end of July, early August. And I think there were orders for like over like 50K, I think, for Ethereum. I'm not really sure about the 50K part, but I am sure that there were large option orders for crypto. And that's going to be a really good upside for crypto. So You know, if you want to buy the dip for crypto, if you want to buy a starter position, I recommend that now's the time to get it, because you know, if crypto keeps dipping, do keep in mind that cryptocurrency doesn't actually have wash sale rule. If you don't know what a wash sale rule is, it's basically if you sell something for a loss and you buy it and you buy the same security. So like, let's say you sell Apple for a loss, right? Theoretically, you can, you know, write it off on taxes. But if you buy it within a month, that's considered the wash sale rule, where you can't write that loss off, because you know people the IRS doesn't want you to kind of just rob them from the money. So for crypto it's different, because crypto doesn't actually have the wash sale rule, right? You can sell crypto for a loss and buy it immediately again, and you can still write off the crypto loss as a loss to write off taxes in your in your taxes. So if you do have a heavy position in like Bitcoin or Ethereum and you're like, you know, losing quite a bit, if you sell immediately and buy it again, you can technically write off those losses off your taxes. So you know, it's a win-win. You buy crypto at a lower price, you get to write off the losses, so technically you gain the money back. And also, right, crypto is going to do good in the long term. It's currently just doing a normal pullback. So, and if you look at Ethereum on the long term, right, on the logarithmic chart, you can see that this pullback is considered nothing compared to previous pullbacks. 1.4K all the way down to $76. That's crazy, right? But I do see a bear flag on Ethereum currently, so we might see another move down. So maybe get a starter position in crypto, right? If it continues to dip, then you can buy more of it. If it dips even more, buy more of it. So that's what I'm doing right now. DoorDash. All right, so DoorDash. So I'm gonna keep Coinbase up because I actually like the pattern a lot. Dash. Oh, DoorDash is back at 180. Okay, that's a pretty fast recovery. So currently for DoorDash, I'm just gonna chart out some resistance lines. I do see an ascending broadening wedge, which is bearish. This looks really similar to Neo's ascending broadening wedge. If you look at Neo's ascending broadening wedge, you can see that it was also forming and then it broke out right to the downside. I see the same exact thing forming for Dash, maybe on a smaller scale, but I do see it, which is a bearish. It's a bearish pattern. So possible pullback soon. I mean, especially after a run from 134 to 180, and let's say in like 4 days, I do think that it does deserve a pullback soon. Also depends on data coming out, so do keep in mind of that. But looking at Dash, like on the larger scale, it did have a beautiful diamond bottom. So I don't expect the pullback for Dash to be that big, but I do expect a pullback soon. But if you look at this diamond bottom on Dash, it looks pretty nice, and I can't believe I missed that. It actually looks pretty nice. So that's what I see for DoorDash. I charted out Coinbase and Uber. All right, Uber. So I did chart out some kind of wedge on Uber. Not really sure if it's a descending broadening wedge because resistance is flat, so it doesn't really qualify, but it's basically just in consolidation right now. It's trading sideways. It can't really go anywhere. Hopefully it doesn't go back down to $43, or else it's going to be forming a giant inverse cup and handle, which is not going to look good because it does have a couple of gaps. It has a gap at $36, so not going to be good if Uber does break this wedge over here. On the other hand, if Uber does break up, which if it does, right, I can see it going back up to $54. But yeah, currently Uber's in this phase of consolidation after dropping from $59 all the way to $43. It's just been sitting there, right? It really hasn't been moving. And maybe if I, adjust my resistance line a little bit, right? If I touch this ticker, this wick over here, and then I plot out support, you can see that it's basically a megaphone pattern that's flat, so it's a neutral pattern. So it's going to break out either to the upside or downside. I'd say it has more of a chance to break to the downside, considering that it has touched support a lot more than its resistance, and the more times you touch support, the weaker it gets. So we're just gonna have to wait. Currently it's in the middle, so it's really not, I guess, in a certain direction where it can, I'm positive it's gonna go to. It's just gonna have to go depending on where it opens tomorrow, depending on the reaction towards data, and depending on the reaction towards earnings. And also it has earnings on August 12th, so possible earnings run up late July, early August, but I won't guarantee that. Marvel. So for Marvel, ooh, I like that consolidation. So Marvel, it does look like it's in a bull flag. I actually really like this consolidation from Marvel. I do expect a break up once it breaks the level of $57, 57.4 if I want to be exact. So keep an eye out for that level. But yeah, I do see a consolidation, and yeah, it looks really nice to me. I like it. Any good options brokerage recommendations for traders trading less than $25,000? I would say Webull is a good options trading brokerage. It might have a difficult user interface at first, but if you get used to it, it's going to be a lot more easier to use. I do recommend Webull. Tim, do you recommend any other brokerages? I was about to say Robinhood, but Robinhood's fills are really crap. So
I hate Webull personally.
You do? Okay.
Please go to Thinkorswim and create a cash account so you can day trade unlimited amount of times. Do not go to Webull for your own mental health sake. Okay, so according to Tim, don't go to Webull, go to Thinkorswim. Is the user interface for Thinkorswim good? I personally don't use Thinkorswim, so I don't know. It's a little bit more complicated at first, but once you get used to it, it feels like Webull. Even though I've been using it for a bit, I've just not been able to get used to it. And Thinkorswim has some good education material as well, so I think that with that, it kind of tempted me to get used to it. And once you do, it's very convenient, and they have some great customer support. So.
And also, is Thinkorswim easier to use than E-Trade?
I haven't used E-Trade. I've heard it's really shit from you.
Yeah, so definitely don't use E-Trade for day trades. For long term, it's a bit better, but for day trades, don't use it, please. For the sake of me and for the sake of you. All right, do we have any other questions? Any other tickers you want me to chart? I've been streaming for exactly 45 minutes now, so okay, cash account for Thinkorswim. Lets you do shorts too, right? Yeah, shorts are basically puts, calls puts, unlimited day trades. Webull doesn't allow for shorts. When you mean shorts, do you mean puts?
Or do you mean like shorting the actual stock?
If you're trying to short the actual stock, you're gonna need a lot of capital for that. But if you want to short a stock in the form of puts, you can do that with any brokerage. Hopefully, any brokerage.
Unless there's some really bad one I haven't heard of.
Yeah, E-Trade's good for longer term positions like leaps for shares, because the user interface for E-Trade's really crap that you don't want to look at it every day. So that's really good for long-term positions, because you don't really want to look at your long-term positions every day, because you might emotionally want to sell it, and that's never a good thing to do. So I recommend E-Trade for long-term positions. All right. I do have a ticker, which is Royal Caribbean. As I said, Boeing shot up on the news. Airlines followed. Cruise companies also kind of followed. It didn't follow too well because of the fact that of the Delta variant. But technical speaking, Royal Caribbean does have a descending broadening wedge, which is bullish, right? It has another resistance at around, well, the resistance at $86. I don't think it's gonna run all the way up there in a matter of like a week. Actually, it can. It's possible. But I think on the daily, it's going to reject or not reject, but it's going to test the $83.818 price, because that's where the 9 EMA is. So if it breaks the 9 EMA, that shows that a Royal Caribbean can actually be in an uptrend again. But I do see the Delta variant as being a pretty big threat for cruise companies. So personally, I think it's too weak for it to break it, but you know, it really depends on whether or not news is going to be good for Royal Caribbean. And also, cruise companies are part of the Dow. So depending on if the Dow does good, if news are good, if COVID cases go down, vaccinations go up, financials do good, and also, you know, if Boeing continues to run and gets good news, this is going to follow. Oracle. All right. Oracle has been on the run lately. Wow. That's crazy. So Oracle has a resistance level of... So it actually closed right at resistance. So what do I expect for Oracle? If I plot out support, you can see that it's kind of in a megaphone pattern. I do expect Oracle to reject from here, though it does tend to surprise me just a bit. If I chart out Oracle from this lower point here, May 7th, to this point over here, it does technically have more room to go up to $89. But if I plot out resistance from these points over here, you can see that's right at resistance. So who knows for Oracle? It can still run. It does have dividends on the 14th, so there might be an increased. Actually, no, the ex-dividend day was passed, so I don't think it's going to affect it too much. But you can see on the hourly, it does have a bull flag. Looks like a pretty nice consolidation, but it is possible that it might need a pullback after these insanely green days. It's been running pretty crazy lately. And also, I do see someone in the chat saying that grab puts for Oracle. I don't recommend that unless you see confirmation, right? You're not going to buy puts just simply because of the fact that something runs, because, you know, as Tim always said, when something breaks all-time highs, it's bullish because of FOMO. That's exactly what happened to Oracle. So buy puts when you see a pullback. Don't buy, or buy puts when you see a confirmation of a pullback. Don't buy puts just because something broke all-time highs. Do we have any other tickers to chart? If not, I'll see you tomorrow on Monday, where we're going to start a fresh week of trading. Are futures open yet? Futures are open and they're currently flat.
What question is that?
you know, it's a rhetorical question, but futures are flat for the Dow and SPY. Tech is leading futures by 0.1%. So pretty flat for now. You know what? While I'm here, I might as well chart futures right now. So currently for futures, looks like we're flattening out up here. Looks like there was a rising wedge somewhere up here. So there was a rising wedge for futures over here. Looks like we just broke out of that. So I am expecting to see some red for futures for the first couple of hours. Maybe overnight we might recover, but I am expecting to see a red futures pretty soon. Oh look, the Dow's already red. So I am expecting to see SPY go red, possibly Nasdaq go red, but I do think that we might be able to bounce overnight. But futures are pretty far from the 9 EMA, so we might see a pullback to 4.325K. What do I use for confirmation? So the way I look for confirmation is, number one, the stock either breaks the support or resistance. That's number one, and it closes below or above it. Number two, a new candlestick forms with it holding the support and resistance it broke. So for example, right, if I'm just going to draw like a random support line. So on futures, I drew out a rising wedge, right, over here. So this is the resistance, this is the support. In order for me to find confirmations, number one, this candlestick broke out of the support, it held, it closed below support. Number two, the next candlestick also holds the resistance, right? It might it might go back up and retest support. If it rejects support, that's confirmation, right? And then it goes right back down. So that's how I look for confirmation. It's not going to be the same for every single stock. Sometimes for a stock, when you look for confirmation, you're going to be too late to trade it, and that's totally fine because chances are you have more days to trade in your life. So if you miss out on something, you can always find something else. But yeah, you won't make as much money off of confirmation than if you guess a trade where you buy something before it breaks out. But do keep in mind that there's always a chance for it to break out the wrong way. So confirmation is always a safer way to play stuff. Hopefully that answers your question. I have been streaming for almost an hour now, and I have to go soon. So if you guys have any other questions, make sure to DM me or DM Tim. Tim is still on the call. Say hi. You're not going to say hi?
Hi.
So yeah, either DM me or Tim. My DMs are always open. I'll try to reply as soon as possible. But you know, and also you guys can always tag me in your Discord server's chats, because I will always check those too. So hopefully you guys had a good weekend, and hopefully we have a good week next week. Hopefully the markets don't tank on CPI data. Hopefully CPI data does improve so that inflation can hopefully start slowing down. But yeah, until then, I will see you next week. Bye, everyone. All right, now that live stream's out of the way.